Hey everyone, welcome to part 6 of the SHSAT 2019-2020 practice test. So we're on question number 92 of the math section. So let's get started. So in Center City, the ratio of people to dogs is 4-1, and the ratio of dogs to cats is 3-2. What is the ratio of people to cats? So to solve this question, let's write out our two ratios. So we have 4-1 for people to dogs, and then from dogs to cats, we have a ratio of 3-2. So basically, one way to solve this problem is we see here dogs is 1. So if we look at the P to D ratio and we multiply both sides by 3, then we're going to have 3 dogs. And so we know since 3 dogs, for every 3 dogs, there are 2 cats, we can just substitute that 2 cats, and then we can get our ratio from people to cats. So let's put that into action. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3, so we get 12 people is equivalent to 3 dogs. And since 3 dogs is equivalent to 2 cats, we can just append that here. So we have, for every 12 people, there are 2 cats. So let's write that. So people to cats is going to be 12-2. And if we divide both sides by 2, then, here, let me erase this above. If we divide both sides of this ratio by 2, then we're going to get, for every 6 people, that's 1 cat. And we see that is answer choice G. So yeah, that would be my approach to that type of problem, which is just, if you have people to dogs here, if you have dogs, right, people to dogs and then dogs to something else, if you have 2 separate proportions, just try to get a common, it's not exactly a denominator, but a common number where you have that repeat, and then just, substitute as needed. Okay, so 93, we have a square S, and we're told that the side length of the square is shorter than the side length of square T by 1 centimeter. Okay, so let's draw that out, actually. So we have S, and I'm going to call the side length of S X, and then we have T. Okay, so if the side length of square S is shorter than the side length of square T by 1 centimeter, then we can say that the side length of square T is going to be X plus 1 centimeters, which makes, the side length of S 1 shorter. And then we're told that the area of square S is 9 square centimeters. So we can actually solve for X then, right? Because we know that the area of S is going to be X squared, and that area is equal to 9. So then X would be equal to 3. Okay. What is the difference in square centimeters between the area of square T and the area of square S? So we already know that the area of S is going to be 9. Okay, and then we know that the area, so then we know that the area of T is going to be the side length squared, right? So X plus 1 squared. And we know that X is 3. So this is just going to be 4 squared, or 16. Okay, so now basically we need to take the difference between area of T and area of S. So that's just 16 minus 9, and that is 7. So that would be B. Okay. So 94. We're told that x is an odd number, and we want to know what the sum of x and the next two odd numbers are, which are greater than x. Okay. So let's look at this sort of phrase, the next two odd numbers greater than x. Okay. So what are the next two odd numbers greater than x, right? So if we look at x, then we have x plus 1, right? So let's say that x, for example, is 1. Then x plus 1 would be 2, right? 2 is not going to be odd. It's actually even. And then we would have x plus 2. This is 3. So it looks like the first odd number greater than x is going to be x plus 2. And then x plus 3, that's going to be 4. And then x plus 4, that's 5. Right, so 5 is our next odd number. So basically, we see odd numbers in increments of 2. And for that matter, the same for even numbers, we see them in increments of 2. So if we want to get the next two greater numbers, which are odd, we would add 2, right? So we have x plus 2, x plus 4. So we want to know what the sum of x is plus the next two odd numbers. So that sum is going to be x plus 2 plus x plus 4. So we can take our three x's, add them together, and then we have plus 2 and plus 4. So that adds together to be 6, and then our total sum is going to be 3x plus 6. Alright, I'm going to do a little bit of erasing. So for clarity. Okay. So now we're on to question 95. So we're being asked how 1 over x minus 1 over 2x is written as a single fraction. So like all fractions and like doing operations on those fractions, we want to find a common denominator. So we want to know what the common denominator is of x and 2x. And one idea is we can take this 1 over x and multiply it by 2 over 2 to get a denominator of 2x. Right? Because 2 times x in the denominator is going to be 2x. So if we do that, then we get 2. So 2 times 1 is 2, right? Minus 1. And then over 2x, because we have that common denominator. So this would just be 1 over 2x, and that's how this subtraction is written as a single fraction. So that would be A. Okay. So 96, in a certain competition, one person finished in first place, 5 people tied for second place, and 10 people tied for third place, and the other 4,984 people did not place. And we want to know what percentage of the people in the competition placed first, second, or third. So in order to actually answer this question, I think it would be easier to write this as a fraction and then convert it to a percent. So we want to know the number of people that placed, right, and then we divide by the total number of people who are competing to get that fraction. So the number of people that placed, we know 1 person placed in first, 5 placed in second, and 10 placed in third. And then the total number of people is going to be the 4,984, which did not place, plus the people that did place, right? So we're adding that again. So that's the total number of people. And then we can like simplify this by adding together the numbers. So the numerator would become 16, and then the denominator, if you actually do that addition, it adds to a even 5,000. And now we take this fraction, and we don't actually need to simplify it yet. So what we're going to do is we have this fraction, and we want to convert it to a percent. So to do that, we just can multiply by 100, right? And then now we do our simplification. So I have 2 zeros here in the 100. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to cross out 2 zeros in the denominator. Right, that's just equivalent to dividing by 100. So now I rewrite this as 16 over 50. And this is, remember that this is like a percent already. It's not a fraction. And now, but I mean, it can be treated as a fraction, but it is a percent, I guess. So 16 over 50, let's divide both sides by 4 to simplify that. So that would be 4 over, actually, sorry, because 50 doesn't divide by 4. So let's divide both sides by 2. So that's 8 over 25 as a percent. Or actually, oh, I'm doing this the wrong way. Okay, so 16 over 50, actually, let's multiply both sides by 2. So we're going to get 32 over 100%. Right, and the reason I multiplied both sides by 2 is 32 over 100 can now be expressed as a decimal. So that's 0.32%. And that would be G. Okay, so what's important about this question is keeping track of what's just a fraction versus what's a percent. Because if you forgot the percent sign, say here, that would be a problem. The other thing that you can do is you can just take this original fraction, which is 16 over 5,000, and you can divide the two like this to get a decimal, like a decimal number, and that you would get 0.32 if you did that. So if you're confused by all this like percent versus fraction, that's another thing you can do. Okay, so we're going to go on to 97. Okay, so we have angle A and angle B, and they're complementary, right? So we have B, we have A. So, and if they're complementary, it means that A plus B is equal to 180, right? So since this is like a line and it's split up into A and B, it'll add up to 180 degrees. So you can think of this above as being the graphical representation, and this as being the algebraic representation of complementary. So now we're told that the measure of angle B is 3 times as great as the measure of angle A. So we know that B is equal to 3 times A. And we want to know what the measure is of angle B. Okay, so we have this system of 2 equations. So we can substitute the fact that B is equal to 3A into the first equation. So this is going to be A plus, and instead of writing B, I'm going to write 3A is equal to 180. So that means that 4A is 180. And then I can divide both sides by 4. And I would get that A is equal to 180 over 4, which is just 25. Right, and it's degrees because we're talking about angles. Okay, so I know that angle A right here is 25 degrees. And remember that A plus B is going to be 180. So now I know 25 plus B is 180. Okay, and then I can just subtract 25 from both sides, and I would get that B is going to be 155. Let's see, did I do something wrong here? Yeah, so 4A and 180. When I divide 180 by 4, I said 25, but that's actually 45. Right, so then I would have 45. This is weird. 45. Yeah, 45 plus B is 180. So then if I subtract 45 from 180, that's going to be 135. So that would be answer choice D. So good of me to catch that. better not to make the mistake, but I guess it's better that I caught it than not. Okay, so now 98. So we have the height of a tree in 2013 is 300% of the height that it was in 2003, and we want to know by what percentage did its height increase over this 10-year period. Okay, so let's think about this. So 300% of the height it was in 2003. So let's say in 2003 it was like 100 feet tall. Then in 2013, if it's 300% of the height it was in 2003, that would just mean 3 times 100 feet, and that's 300 feet. Right, so this basically means it tripled. And we want to know by what percentage did its height increase over this 10-year period. So, right, so this is just like percent change, right? So we take the new value minus the old value, divide by the old value. So that would just be 200. Oh, right, and finally multiply by 100. Okay, so the hundreds cancel out, and we just get 200%. So we have a 200% increase. A shorthand of doing these problems is, so one approach to this problem is just plug in values and then apply the percent change. Another way you can think about it is take the percent that it take like this percentage value, right? So it's 300% in 2013 of what it was in 2003, and subtract 100%. You can think of that 100% as being like the initial height. So, and then you would get the 200 as well as an increase. But if you're not sure, better to just plug in values and check it. Okay, so 99, we have two measurement conversions. So the first is that 1 gallon is equal to 16 cups, and then that 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. So if 1 gallon is equal to 2 to the x fluid ounces, what is the value of x? So don't be confused by this wording. So we're actually going to just focus on this. So we want to know basically, so I'm going to rewrite this question. So we want to know 1 gallon is equal to how many ounces? Right, that's basically what we're being asked, first of all. So I know that 1 gallon is equal to 16 cups, and I know that 1 cup is equal to some amount of ounces. So I'm going to take this bottom thing, and I want, instead of 1 cup, I want to know about 16 cups, because if I can get 16 cups equal to some amount of fluid ounces, then I can just plug that in as being 1 gallon is equal to 16 cups is equal to that amount of fluid ounces. So I'm going to take this second equation and I'm going to multiply both sides by 16. So 16 times 1 cup is equal to 16 times 8 ounces. So therefore 16 cups is equal to 16 times 8, which is 80 plus 48 ounces. Here, let's 80 plus 48 ounces Okay, so let me rewrite that, erase some stuff. Okay, so that is, so we know 16 cups is 128 ounces. Okay, and then from our first thing, we know that 1 gallon is equal to 16 cups. Okay, so if 1 gallon is equal to 16 cups and 16 cups is equal to 128 ounces, then we know that 1 gallon is going to be 128 ounces. Okay. So we know that, right? And now let's actually examine the full question. So if 1 gallon is equal to 2 to the x fluid ounces, what is the value of x? So 1 gallon is equal to 128 ounces, which is equal to 2 to the x. So basically, we want to know 2 to what power is equal to 128. So you can experiment with values with like exponents of 2, but I think it'll turn out that 2 to the 7th is what we're looking for. So we can check that, right? 2 to the 3 times 2 to the 4, and then 2 to the 3 is 8. 8 times 16, which is 128. Yeah, so it would be 2 to the 7. So 1 gallon is equal to 2 to the 7 fluid ounces, so the value of x would be 7. Yeah. Alright, so that's going to be the end of this part of the video, and on the next part we're going to start on question 100. So I'll see you then. Alright, bye.